Greetings from the National Endowment for the Arts in Washington, D.C. I'm Jen Hughes, Director of Design and Creative Placemaking at the National Endowment for the Arts, where I oversee the Creative Placemaking grant portfolio. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this very exciting occasion, as you embark on what we know will be a transformative process for Coal Avenue and downtown Gallup. First off, I want to extend a hearty congratulations to the City of Gallup and Gallup Arts for securing an Our Town award from the NEA. Our Town is a nationally competitive grant program that supports creative placemaking projects. Creative placemaking is when artists, arts organizations, and community development practitioners deliberately integrate arts and culture into community revitalization work, placing arts at the table with land use, transportation, economic development, education, housing, infrastructure, and public safety strategies. Ultimately, Our Town grants are intended to seed catalytic work that will drive long-term social, physical, and economic improvements, with the goal of benefiting local and regional residents. Gallup now joins the ranks of communities all across the country that are turning to artists, designers, culture bearers, and more to spark revitalization and imagine new possibilities in their communities. The challenge before you is to envision how Coal Avenue can become a walkable, welcoming place where culture, community, and commerce thrive. Artists have a unique ability to push the boundaries of what we think is possible and render those exceptional visions into reality. As I've learned, Gallup is home to a remarkable group of silversmiths, weavers, carvers, painters, sculptors, writers, and more. I encourage you to leverage the creative talents of Gallup to think boldly about the ways that you might strengthen your community. I imagine you will be discussing ideas for physical improvements along Coal Avenue, but I encourage you to also leverage artists and creative community to implement out-of-the-box ideas to drive long-term social and physical change. I commend all of you for tapping into the powerful force of artist creativity as you work together to plan and build a transformed Coal Avenue. The National Endowment for the Arts wishes you a wonderful kickoff meeting and is excited to support you on this journey.
Good evening. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. I'm Mary Ann Eustick, and I'm City Manager for the City of Gallup. And this evening, I want to welcome you on behalf of the City of Gallup Mayor and City Council, City staff, and all of our partners that are here with us tonight. We want to welcome you to the kickoff for the Coal Avenue Commons project, which we know will be a catalyst for the revitalization of our downtown. A downtown is the heart of any city, and it's also the city's front door. So how our downtown looks, and especially how it feels, will entice both community members and visitors from all over to come back often and to enjoy the downtown experience. I have been involved in downtown revitalization in a number of other cities, and I've learned some key lessons, sometimes the hard way. And aside from the importance of placemaking, creative placemaking, which you're going to have a presentation on later on in the program, I have a couple of other key lessons that I wanted to share with you. I call them, again, the first P is placemaking, but the 4 Ps for success in downtown revitalization. The first one is patience. Downtown revitalization is a very long-term commitment. It can take many, many years. And sometimes we're tempted to focus on the immediate problems. We want to just fix them, whether it's pave over a street or replace a sidewalk or utility lines. But we have a downtown vision. We have a downtown master plan. We have an arts and cultural district plan. And we need to take the time to follow it and to do things right, to do the right things right the first time. So patience. The second P is preservation. People today crave authenticity. They love historical context and uniqueness, and of course the arts is our unique gift. I've been involved in other cities where faux downtowns were created, and they're lovely, but they don't provide a unique experience that brings people back because they simply can't get that experience anyplace else. So in our creative placemaking and design process, we need to identify and preserve and build on what makes downtown Gallup unique and very, very special and memorable. The third P is participation. And sometimes this is the hardest one of all. Getting property owners, downtown businesses, and the entire community involved takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and constant communication. But investing in downtown, especially for the long term, requires community buy-in and political will. And this is only going to come when we have community participation in the process. And then lastly, partnerships. Local government doesn't have the resources or even the juice to do downtown revitalization on its own. And we are very fortunate in Gallup to have so many talented partners that bring so many aspects of revitalization to our community. And I'd like to just take this opportunity to introduce them and thank them for their participation. First of all is McKinley County. McKinley County is a substantial funder. They helped us with a match in this effort, and they are very much involved in supporting the development of the arts in our downtown, so we thank them. The Gallup Arts Council, and you're going to hear from Rose Easton, their executive director, a little further down the program. But Gallup Arts has made the Arts Crawl a signature event for our community, and they do so many community-based programs. And in this program, Gallup Arts is going to be the facilitator for a community-based placemaking, creative placemaking, which is going to make this a very unique project that we'll all be proud of. Another partner is the Gallup BID, the Business Improvement District. I just wanted to take a minute to say that we are very fortunate to have a business improvement district. This is the only one in the state of New Mexico. And it is a very special asset in that property owners in the BID district actually assess themselves to reinvest in our downtown. They are also a funder of the match for this grant. Gallup Main Street and Arts and Cultural District is another partner in this program. We are the first combined Main Street and Arts and Cultural District in the state of New Mexico, and we need to be very proud of that. Their role in this project is to help be the liaison to downtown businesses, to help bring them in the process and make sure that they're heard and that they have ownership of the outcome. And then another partner is the McCune Foundation. We're very, very fortunate that they have contributed a substantial amount of fund for the match for this grant, and we're very privileged to have them be a supporter of our project. And last but not least is the Northwest New Mexico COG, Council of Governments. We want to recognize and thank all of our COG staff for their support for downtown's revitalization. It didn't just begin today, and it's certainly not going to end for years and years. And we would not be at this point of being able to design the Coal Commons Event Street project without their guidance and their unwavering support. And I want to especially thank Evan Williams, who is always there for us. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn the program over to Evan to talk about how the start of something big came to be. Evan?
Good evening, everybody. Again, my name is Evan Williams. I'm the Deputy Director of the Council of Governments. We've been here for 45 years, operating in downtown Gallup, New Mexico. I'm very proud of that fact. We serve San Juan, McKinley, and Cibola communities. We have about 72 rural, small town, and urban communities that we serve. And it's always fun to be part of a project where we work, live, and play. I'm going to take you through a little bit of how we got here. I think it's important to recognize the past efforts and the people that have built the foundation that we stand on today. So I'm going to take you a little bit through some of the efforts in downtown Gallup over the years, where we've been and kind of where we're headed. Downtown Gallup has been a hub for social and commercial activities since the railroad landed, and has been through many periodic transformations, including horse and buggy, coal mining, invention of automobiles, the acquisition of I-40, and the mall moving in 1981. But downtown has never lost its place as the center of town and the heartbeat of the region. Even today, we're facing online retailers that have a competitive advantage over some of our small businesses downtown. But again, coming together in these efforts keep the downtown vibrant, keep being the place of commercial business for the city of Gallup. So back in 1985, Gallup was one of the first cities in New Mexico to become a main street. It was probably likely that the mall moved in and business owners felt like they needed to come together to make sure that there was a vision for downtown reinvestment and that people knew we were still open for business. We were actually one of the first places in New Mexico to complete a metropolitan redevelopment plan. We actually got it done before the legislation to create the Main Street program existed. So Gallup's been an innovator of downtown redevelopment since kind of its inception. In 2002, the city and county came together and created a downtown revitalization plan. You'll see proof of that out in the courthouse square. Thomas Leatherwood helped us go through a charrette process with downtown businesses, owners, and stakeholders, and we came up with a pretty good plan, and we've been implementing it every day. You can see it again at the new courthouse, the Veterans Memorial, Gallup Walkway, and other public arts projects that came to be. This public investment helped to leverage private investment, which helps to revitalize our downtown. And you can see a lot of those new businesses today surrounding the courthouse square and in downtown. The other major point on this slide is, and Mary Ann mentioned it, in 2009, at the height of the Great Recession, the downtown property owners got together and said, we got to get together again and reinvest. We've got to put something together where we assess ourselves, we invest where that money goes, and we double down on our efforts in downtown. And so in 2009, the Business Improvement District was founded, and again, just took things in downtown to the next level. You'll see it all throughout the downtown with the expansion of this theater into a performing arts center. You'll see it in the wayfinding, in the tree lighting, in the kiosks, the gateway signs, all throughout downtown. You see new vibrancy and investment, our signage program. You'll see those investments today from the Business Improvement District. Next, I kind of wanted to get into more of our kind of modern, last 10 years anyway, of what we've been doing in downtown. A lot of it's been setting ourselves up with the structure, resources, and capacities to work together to succeed. Several downtown Renaissance thinkers and arts leaders took up the mantle of revitalizing and reviving a local arts council. Gallup was an early innovator and pioneer in the days of the local arts councils back in the 80s and 90s through our Gallup Area Arts Council. For many reasons that took a turn, but it was thought that we needed to bring the arts back to the center for a number of reasons. The economy is based on arts and creative economies and hospitality. Over 20% of our revenues and 20% of our jobs are created in work that is in the creative industries. Gallup is recognized as an arts capital internationally. The Arts Crawl is ever evolving and shows the true passion and people of Gallup coming together to enjoy the arts. And we knew that this creative placemaking and downtown revitalization needed arts as the leader. Many small towns have arts at the center of their revitalization. The artists come in, they make it cool, they make it the place to hang out, and then everybody wants to be with them. And so that's part of the process. So Gallup Arts started back in 2012. We used that to help leverage our Main Street. We got back into the program. We got welcomed back into the family. We used that as well to start talking about creating an arts and cultural district for downtown. We also created a historic district. So we probably have more districts than we need, but there's tools in each of those boxes that we now can touch and place in our downtowns. Next, I just wanted to talk about the process that we went through for the Arts and Cultural District application. A lot of folks in this room came together. Again, the COG is just kind of a facilitator of what the community wants to do and what your vision is. So a lot of people helped put this application together. They told us that Gallup would never get it. There was 13 communities and only 2 spaces. But through this community process where we went out, we actually had volunteers take pictures of every building in downtown, document how it's part of the creative economy. We were able to put this in GIS, and then we created one of the most substantial videos that I think drove us over the top, just showing what Gallup's all about. And again, on our project website, you can find that video. But these are the people that helped establish us as an arts and cultural district today. We've used those programs to leverage some planning work, and we've kind of used the support of Main Street and the Arts and Cultural District to generate some of those reports. So again, we have the organizations, we have the plans, now we've got to roll up our sleeves and get the projects done. Oh, going the wrong way. Sorry, folks. So these are the two plans that Mary Ann mentioned. Again, we were the first in the state to be able to do these simultaneously. So we have a metropolitan redevelopment plan and we have a cultural plan, all of which drive the priorities and projects we choose to take on. And so in that plan, the community actually prioritized the number one project was the new library that folks wanted to see stay in downtown. And the number two project was the Coal Avenue Event Street project, which is what brings us here tonight. Lastly, I just wanted to mention some of the things. Gallup has been doing creative placemaking all along. We have examples of it where we work with artists. Artists lead the vision, they lead the project, they come up with the beautiful pieces. The Trash Can Project is an example of that. It's a beautiful success showing our diversity, culture, and arts in our downtown and provides a sensible way to get rid of our litter at the same time. So again, we're just kind of taking that to the next level in this process. The Coal Avenue Event Street is going to be led by our business property owners and creative leaders to kind of come up with a vision for our beautiful downtown gateway. So with that, I wanted to turn it over to Gallup Arts. Again, the city of Gallup is the fiscal agent for this project, and Gallup Arts is really leading the arts and the creative placemaking side of the project. And so I wanted to invite Rose Easton up, the executive director of Gallup Arts, to present a quick project overview and to talk you through some of the community activities and engagement that we'll be doing through this project. Thank you, everybody.
All right, well, welcome here again tonight to the Coal Avenue Kickoff event. I'm super excited that this is our kickoff event, kicking off a process of community engagement and a creative placemaking approach to downtown revitalization. I can tell how fast I'm talking by how fast your hands are moving, so I'll try to slow down. All right, so it's important to reiterate and emphasize that this is a creative placemaking project. Again, as Jen Hughes said, creative placemaking is involving artists and the community in creating solutions to local challenges. And so this grant isn't just to fund the design of an event street, it's to fund an artist-led, community-engaged design process. So in tackling the challenge of downtown revitalization and the redesign of Coal Avenue as an event street, we're taking a creative placemaking approach. We're recruiting artists to help frame the design process, and then we're providing opportunities for the public, for the community to provide input at every stage of the process. So that's what I'm here to talk about, give an overview of how community engagement will lead the design process, how artists will lead the design process. 3 artist-led activities will form the backbone of the design process. Those 3 activities will take place in conjunction with the next 3 arts crawls, the one coming up here this month in just under 2 weeks, also at the June and July arts crawls. These 3 artist-led activities are designed to progress us from brainstorming, big picture brainstorming, imagining, inspiration gathering, into actually conceptualizing the design, and then into putting that design into practice to see how it looks and how it functions and how it works. So starting this month in May at the May 12th Arts Crawl, we've invited local artist Bear Mescal to create a temporary graffiti mural in the style of a wordle. A wordle is a visual language-based graph. It's a graph made up of words. The more often a word is used, the larger it appears in the graph. So down here we have a snippet of the wordle in progress for this project, for the Coal Avenue Commons. We've been asking the community what one word captures your ideal vision for a revitalized downtown Gallup. These are some of the words we've received so far. It's not too late to submit your word if one just popped into your head. There's the art cycle outside the theater has a piece of paper you can write your word on at the conclusion of tonight's program. You can also Facebook us or you can email us. We'll take all of those words, we'll create the final Wordle, we'll hand it over to Bear, and he will transform it into a spectacular piece of street art that includes and captures all of our collective hopes, dreams, and wishes for the future Event Street, the future Coal Avenue Commons. And that graffiti mural will be revealed at the May 12th Arts Crawl. Building on that, at the June 9th Arts Crawl, we'll take that word map, that kind of vision board that we've created, and distill it into some ideas, some specific concrete ideas for design elements and design features for the Event Street. So we're going to do some literal streetscaping with sidewalk chalk. Again, the artists will take the lead and guide us through this process. We've invited 3 local muralists, and I should be able to announce them soon, to spearhead this effort. And the idea is that before Arts Crawl, they'll draw in, like literally draw on the street and sidewalk chalk, what they would like to see in Event Street include, what they think the Coal Avenue Commons should look like. So perhaps it's an art installation, maybe they have some really creative ideas for the use of color or pattern or texture, maybe in terms of pavers. And that will be the springboard for the community, for you guys to also pick up a piece of sidewalk chalk and draw in what you think the Event Street should include. So seating, lighting, landscaping, a speaker on every corner. And so together we'll create a roadmap for the Event Street for the Coal Avenue Commons. That's the June 9th Arts Crawl. And then in July, we'll move from how the Coal Avenue Commons should feel, how it should look, into how it should function. Because of course we want a beautiful design, but we also want a functional design. And in that, I mean that we want a design that supports our current events, but we also want a design that empowers increased community gathering, more community building type events. So we're actually going to put this one out to you guys, and we'll be issuing a request for proposals, an RFP here shortly, for 2 community groups or teams of community members to design parklets that demonstrate some of the potential future uses of the Event Street. So a parklet is a parking space-sized installation. It's a takeover or reclaiming of a parking space, usually as green space, hence the term parklet or a garden. But a parklet can really be anything. It can be a mini library, it could be a performance venue, a public art installation, it could be a cornhole arena. I don't know, you guys have probably better ideas than I do. So we'll be asking you, what do you think we should use the Event Street for? And then to come up with a design that matches that idea, we'll be able to fund 2 of these designs, and they'll be out just for the July 14th Arts Crawl. So just to quickly recap, Arts Crawl's moving us from brainstorming into actually conceiving the design and then putting that design to work so that we can kind of road test it. Arts Crawl is just one track of the design process. There are 3 additional tracks that, oops, I went the wrong way too. Evan, you're not the only one. Okay, so there are 3 additional tracks. One is another community engagement public track. We'll be having 2 additional community workshops to kind of drill down on some of the ideas coming out of Arts Crawl, one in early June and one in late August. In addition to that, we will have a focus group track, so we'll be meeting with specific stakeholder groups. We have a business owner focus group, a property owner focus group, and an artist and resident focus group. Those groups will meet 3 times over the course of the design process to share their ideas, interests, concerns, and suggestions. And then the 3rd track is an event organizer track. We'll be touching base with all of the event organizers who currently utilize Coal Avenue for their events, so Ceremonial and the Lions Club and so on, to make sure that we're not overlooking any of their needs in the new design. So all 4 tracks will be running simultaneously, parallel to each other. They'll also be informing each other. Each is meant to be progressive, the same as the Arts Crawl track, so that we have a cohesive, cumulative design process. The design process, just like Arts Crawl, will move from visioning, idea generating, into what's called ground truthing, which is when we get a reality check and actually figure out which design or which ideas are feasible from a technical, an engineering, and a construction standpoint, also from the standpoint of needing to balance different stakeholder needs and interests. And then we'll conclude with hopefully some consensus building. So our design team, who I will be introducing in a little bit, will be with us throughout this entire process, our architects and our planners. And they'll be leading the focus groups, they'll be at the community workshops, they'll be at Arts Crawl, they'll be hearing your ideas and your suggestions firsthand. They'll be incorporating those into their thinking over the course of the design process, and then it's their job to come up with 3 different concept designs. And once we have those, we'll meet together again as a group and we'll figure out which one makes the most sense for our community. And that's where the community engagement process concludes. I know our design team is going to go into a little bit more detail on this side of things as well. But we're kicking it off tonight, and there's much more to come, and I do hope that you'll stay engaged and participate, just as Mary Ann said. The website is CoalAvenueCommons.com. We also have a Facebook page. And then before we go much further, we will be answering questions, the entire project team in the lobby at the conclusion of the program. So we're ready for your ideas whenever you have them. With that, it's my pleasure to introduce Greg Esser. He is our guest speaker tonight, all the way from Arizona. He's the Associate Director in the Dean's Office for Arizona State University's Herberger Institute for Design and the Arts. He's directed 3 of the largest municipal public art programs in the United States, in Denver, Los Angeles, and Phoenix. In Phoenix, he founded and directed the Roosevelt Row Community Development Corporation, which preserved and restored 10 vintage or historic buildings to provide studio and exhibition space for artists. He's currently on the Mayor's Sustainability Advisory Committee, the Creative Sector, and the Creative Sector Task Force. He's written 2 successful Art Place America grants. He's also written and managed 3 Our Town awards, so he's familiar with this process. He knows it from the inside out. And he is the recipient of numerous awards, including in 2014, the Phoenix Community Alliance Star Award. He was named a Contemporary Catalyst by the Scottsdale Museum of Contemporary Art in 2009. He's won the Governor's Heritage Preservation Honor Award, and he's also a Diversity Champion by the Business Phoenix Journal as of 2013. So we're very excited to have him here. He's a creative placemaking guru. He has a national and a more regional perspective on creative placemaking. He knows what it can accomplish when it's put in place and when the community works together. So he's here to give us kind of a glimpse of the future, 3 or 4 months ahead of today, to see where this might take us. So welcome, Greg. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for a very generous introduction. And please join me in thanking our interpreters. Thank you. That's exhausting to hear, so thank you for all of that. And all the way from Arizona. Arizona is about 10 miles from here, so it's all a matter of perspective. I'm just going to share, rather than speaking a lot, I'm going to share some visual images that sort of document about 20 years worth of work that I've done in downtown Phoenix around what has come to be known as creative placemaking. And again, as Jen and Rose mentioned, creative placemaking is really about assets that exist in every community, and those are artists. Artists are people that tend to see things where other people don't. They use imagination to see a better future. They have creativity and skills, so it's much more than the painting on the gallery wall or the performance on the stage. Artists have skills that they can bring to community challenges, and they live in, and they're part of our communities, and so they're incredibly underutilized assets. And creative placemaking is about elevating artists as a comprehensive part of community revitalization, community health, and community vibrancy. And I'm so very impressed with all the stakeholders and all the support and alignment that's happening in Gallup, New Mexico. I've been coming here for quite a few years, and it's very energizing to see all the incredible accomplishment that has already taken place. And so I'm very excited to see where this work continues to take you on your journey. I'm not sure if this is going to work. Was that me or you? So again, one of the first things we did was just asked our community what they wanted to see improved about the neighborhood that they lived in. And so unlike Gallup, we started with a lot of vacant lots. You have an incredible historic downtown to start your work from. And we wanted to figure out how we turn the liability of vacant lots into an asset. So this is just sort of an aerial of my neighborhood. All of the red and yellow squares are vacant lots. This was about 2002, 2003, and that aerial is a sort of typical example of what a block in our neighborhood looks like. So one of our first projects was to take a full city block, and working with bioscience high school students. That's the high school you see in the background. We got support from the city of Phoenix, from Intel and other partners to turn that into a 1 acre valley of the sunflowers, so a field of sunflowers that then the bioscience high school students actually harvested. They pressed the seeds and made oil and created fuel for a hybrid solar biofuel car that they created actually in their classrooms. What you don't see in these images is that it took us about 5 years to get permission to use city-owned property in order to plant the sunflowers for 2 seasons. So that planning is a critically important part of the process. This is the director of our Merchants Association. So again, our business owners and property owners are a critically important part of the voice and building support and building synergy around all of our work. And then these are some examples of temporary artist projects. So we've done a lot to sort of activate these spaces and create them as places for people. So creative placemaking really has as its origins the idea of a response to the urban renewal strategy of tearing old down buildings and making public plazas in urban areas. Jane Jacob really pioneered the area that space is for people, and we need to make people-friendly places. People attract other people and create safer and more exciting communities. So this project on the top is by Ann Morton. She created an image of flowers by knitted blankets. Knitters participated from around the country, sent the pieces together, and then the blankets were given to homeless people in the community when the project came down. There are mule deer in the image on the lower right. Again, a temporary installation that moved throughout the neighborhood. Murals, of course, and you've got an incredible inventory of murals in downtown Gallup. And this is a before and after of one of our vacant lots, becoming a temporary place, again, for programming. That's a sort of our version of the Arts Crawl, our arts market on first Friday of every month. And again, we needed a place for people to sit, so the community came together and we built picnic tables, and that created a gathering space that then we used to program around festivals, including the Chili Pepper Festival. We do a pie social, and again, events that become part of the programming. And so the Coal Avenue Commons will be this kind of space that has activation from community-generated events and activities. And then again, those people attract more people, and that creates a sort of synergy that helps fuel more investment, more revitalization, and more opportunities for more people to participate. And artists have always been the core driving part of all of our planning efforts. And again, there's a lot of invisible behind-the-scenes work. You've seen an example of the sort of timeline that brought you to this point today. It's important to understand that these bear fruit, and Marianne mentioned that patience is one of those core values. It does take time, but looking back, it's impossible to see great progress over time. We similarly had a list of priorities that the community identified, and we simply go through that list sort of project at a time, and we do as much as we can do every day to help advance what the community's identified as priorities for the area. This last image, this is Feast on the Street, which was taking First Street, and we simply put out tables and chairs, and we invited people to come and celebrate food. We invited local chefs. We invited food groups that talk about food deserts and healthy foods, and they all had an opportunity to interact around arts-engaged activities and programming. Again, we started with vacant lots. We didn't have buildings, so one of the other things we did was we took shipping containers and turned them into pop-up art galleries that were then programmed by artists both inside and outside. And then wayfinding and some of the programs that the Business Improvement District does here, we also have undertaken maps and marketing for the area. Signage. This is a building we actually relocated from one side of the street to the other side as the property around it was being developed. That's now the headquarters for our Merchants Association and CDC. Again, containers. And then we proposed a project for artist housing, artist live workspace, and shipping containers. Once we engaged with the city's development and building code process, we realized it wasn't less expensive than standard construction. It's a very expensive design lesson to learn, but they're very good for temporary interventions, less cost effective in a permanent installation. We have a book that documents a lot of the history. Again, all of our work was about temporary activation. We weren't building infrastructure, we were building experiences that help define the shape and character of the space. So an investment can be simply setting up a parklet on the street and engaging with people that helps create an experience that draws them back and draws them deeper into the story of what this place is and how it evolves. So our contact information. And next up, we have your design team that's going to talk about the process. So Rose is going to come up next and guide you through the next steps. Thank you very much.
Right, I don't know if your wheels are turning, but mine are. So I'm back just to introduce our design team. Do you guys want to come up? We have two of our design team here. One, Christina Rogers, who masterminded this event, unfortunately couldn't be here tonight. She is the creative placemaker on the team, but you will see her throughout the next 3 months and get a chance to meet her. She's very engaged in the Albuquerque creative placemaking movement. One project she's involved in right now is increasing pedestrian safety in her neighborhood using an artistic approach to create a crosswalk. But with us here tonight are Howard Kaplan and George Radnovich. Howard is the founder and manager of the Facilities, Architecture, and Planning Department of Wilson & Company from the Albuquerque office. He brings more than 50 years experience planning, organizing, and executing architectural and engineering projects. His experience includes designing and managing projects for municipal, county, educational, institutional, Department of Defense, and private clients. He's been working with the City of Gallup for over 10 years on a variety of community projects. Also, he is the president and co-founder of the U.S. Green Building Council New Mexico chapter, and he's been a technical team leader for the architectural surety team of Rebuild Central New Mexico. He's received many career-related awards, including the Award of Merit from the Albuquerque Conservation Association, the American Institute of Architects Honor Award for Excellence in Design, and the Progressive Architecture Award. George is a landscape architect. He is a fellow of the American Society of Landscape Architects. He's the founder and partner of Sites Southwest. He has over 35 years of experience in projects like Coal Avenue Commons. He's skilled in community and urban design, landscape architecture, and site planning. He also has extensive experience in the coordination of complex projects and joint and multiple use developments. He's developed master plans, urban and rural streetscapes, planned communities, and other like-minded projects. He enjoys working with people and communities throughout the Southwest to develop places that stem from local culture. So I'm going to turn it over to the design team to discuss next steps.
Thank you, Rose. Let me just say that we are thrilled, George and I are thrilled to be working with the City of Gallup on this project. This is a truly unique project, and everyone here in Gallup should be absolutely proud. Gallup is a very unique city in New Mexico. George and I travel throughout New Mexico, and Gallup is unique. You have this wonderful downtown, which we hope to be able to improve. This is a unique project for us, too, because we're not here as design professionals, as they call us. We're not here to tell you what to do. We're here to really help facilitate and help draw out of the community what you want this Coal Avenue Event Street to be. And then we can put it into technical drawings and technical specifications that can be built. So that's a little something different for us. But as you've heard already, you have a fantastic local team of people with Evan, Rose, Marianne, and others who are so excited about this project and are so willing to provide the necessary input and the necessary process in order to make this happen. So let me just, to button up this presentation, just quickly go through. As Marianne pointed out, this is not a fast process. Everyone is going to have the opportunity to provide input into it, and input in a way that I think you're all going to enjoy, because you're going to be heard in this process, no question about it. So during this month of May, this kickoff meeting is absolutely of prime importance, and then followed by, in a week and a half, the May Arts Crawl that Rose was telling us about, where we will be gaining more input. We will be there. We will have a table set up, a booth, if you want to call it, where you can, there will be other opportunities to tell us what you think this project should be. We will have some more formal meetings, focus groups, as Rose pointed out, between business owners, property owners, artists, residents. Those will be invitational type meetings. Then we'll roll over into June. So right now we're still collecting information basically and processing it and trying to put it in a form we all understand. But each one of these events is designed to build upon the one that came before. So in June, the June Arts Crawl, as Rose pointed out, we will have chalk artists, plus everybody can continue to provide input. We will also have in June an initial community engagement meeting, and that will be for everybody who is willing to show up. And we will have a process where everybody can have their say, provide input, and that's what will happen there. Then we'll move into July. You notice we haven't, we're not talking about presenting any solutions at this point. None of us has the solution at this point. The solutions will evolve. The solutions will come forward all through this process. So in July, we have the third Arts Crawl, which is the Parklets, and then second series of focus groups meetings. And after that, we will begin to develop, as the consultant team, design concepts. They'll be very loose, very rough, but they'll be incorporating everything we've heard at that point. And that will take us into August, where we can begin to present these concepts and discuss these concepts first to the focus groups and then to further to the larger community as another community engagement meeting. And at that meeting, we're hoping to develop a consensus among the community as to which concept we're going to move forward with into actual design plans. And that process of drawing up the plans, writing the specifications, putting estimates together, that process will go from September to January. We will have a city council presentation during that time also, where of course community can provide more input. So that's what's happening there. George, did you want to say anything?
I just wanted to say we are really excited to do this project. How many of you have t-shirts? All right. What's great about those t-shirts are that part of what this project's about is improving downtown Gallup. Part of it is about the excitement that you all can generate to get downtown Gallup behind this and get the whole city and the whole region behind this project. And so I would invite you to come to every one of those meetings and wear your t-shirts every time you come, because that's the kind of thing that really gets people behind the project. They may ask about what you think, and we really are here to listen to you. We're not here to tell you what to do. And our ideas in this design work will come from you. It won't come from us doing it. It'll come from your ideas informing us about the project. So thank you very much for being here tonight. There's a lot of you, and that alone makes me really excited. Mary Ann, good job on that t-shirt. She's holding it up.
And we will all be sticking around to talk to you, answer any questions you might have, either here in the lobby, outside. So with that, I want to thank everybody for coming. It is a very nice turnout. Very pleased about that. And let's make this happen. Thank you.